I'm Tim.
Awesome. So Tim and I took the solo blues class with Evita Arce, and it was fantastic. Her background is she was a ballet dancer first, and then she got into Lindy Hop. She also has a theater background, so she has a couple different ways to look at it. And I need my notes. Pricky. She had some.
It's okay. Tim's entertaining.
Good. Okay, I'm glad Tim's entertaining. All right. So she was very that it was her take on solo blues, not necessarily what other people might think by solo blues. So using your body for something. Great. Glad I can understand what I wrote. And using your body to the fullest. So just being as expressive as you can possibly be. And then the second thing was how to connect emotionally to the movement. So where a lot of instructors are like, what's the story, come up with a story, and then create movement from that, it was, if you wrap your arms around the chest, how do you feel? As compared to if you put your hand here. Which is an interesting idea. And so she slowly built up kind of a little routine that we did and talked about those concepts as we went along. I don't know, other big takeaways, thoughts you had from the beginning?
Yes, just what you said. Like she stressed the mood of the music, especially. Like kind of almost to the effect that when we did our routine, we almost adapted to each song just the teensiest bit. We changed our movements just the teensiest bit to fit the mood of the music. Like I noticed with the group I was in, it was Yoshimi Battles of Pink Robots Part 1. That was a little jazzier, not beat, so I felt that my movements were more like, jazzier. Whereas some people got a Yo-Yo Ma song, and it was more fluent.
Yeah.
So
what Tim's talking about is the routine that Evita built up throughout the course of the class. At the end, she divided the class into 5 sections, and was like, great, now we're all going to do it for each other. We're all like, oh my god, I was in performance class, oh my god, freaking out. So we had to raise our right hand and put it on our head, and take our left hand and put it on our heart, and then we promised to be kind to ourselves, and that we were going to do it wrong, and that it was okay to do it wrong, and we were supposed to do it wrong. And so then each pod kind of went up and did it, and they were encouraged not to face like the audience, because we were in like an auditorium, not to face the theoretical audience, but to kind of all face each other differently, and to move whenever you felt inspired to go. So she didn't count anybody in like 5, 6, 7, 8, and then go. It was, here's a group of about 10-ish or so people, maybe a little bit less.
Starts playing the song.
And so each group out of the 5 all got a different group. So like Tim said, the Yo-Yo Ma song, the Pink Robots, I don't know that
Yoshimi
one.
Battles of Pink Robots Part 1.
What he said. And so it was really interesting, and she was really complimentary and had really positive feedback, because it was like the pods, the routine, or like the outline of a routine was like a round where like people would start and then other people would start. And the brilliance of giving people permission to start when they were comfortable was that if you knocked up a bit and like left out 8 counts, or I also saw people start to extend movements, like if it was a turn, they would do a double turn, or they would like take the walk around longer, which was really cool. And so there was like this little like ripple-y thing happening throughout.
And no one got off.
Right,
because
no one was off.
Right.
Because everyone was off.
Exactly. And so she kind of gave really positive feedback for each of the pods, and then as it went on, the people within the groups were starting to like pay not like a whole lot of attention to like what the other person in their group was doing, but were a little bit more aware of that interaction like by the time we got to the 3rd group. And then at the end, we all did it together to the last song which was used, which was that the Yo-Yo Ma one?
Yes.
Yeah, and so they recorded that, and I'm hopeful that it'll end up on like the
somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere that we can see it. So yeah, it was really cool. So I don't know, can we grab a song, and Tim and I will give it a whirl, and we'll see what we're
Sure. What kind of song do you want?
Anything?
Yeah, because that's what we did before.
Yeah, she was like, I'm the worst DJ in the world, so who knows what you're gonna end up with.
But if you don't have Yoshimi Battles of Pink Robots Part 1, that would be difficult.
Slow, fast? Does it? I'm assuming slow.
Slower is probably safer.
Yeah, slow to medium.
I'd say under 120. So slow is fine. You could do under 100 beats per minute, it would be okay.
Are we just doing the first bit?
let's do all that we had to do in our pods, and we'll see how it goes.
Are we going to be freelancing, or are we going to be doing it too?
Let's freelance it, because I had to run out to go to the restroom, and then I didn't get the choreography, so I was trying to like find someone's feet and like figure out what was happening. And then she was like, let's perform it, and I'm like, okay.
Is this good?
Sure.
She loves him more, he loves her more. Seems like they never let each other go. Laughing and kissing, it's a match made in heaven. Behind the rings on their fingers, imprints the ink deep in the inner that has stained their souls together now. Stained soulmates forever now. Seems like they've made it to the other side where the grass is greener and the sky is always blue, and it goes on forever and ever, but there is only room for two. Deep at night I'm awakened from my dreams. Next door, yelling cries, mercy, she is begging, please.
Yes, right.
Don't end my life, you're all I need. And darling, I will never leave, and never leave. And then she prayed on her knees, she said, save him from the hand that he beats me on. Save him from the hand that he beats me on. Save him from the hand that he beats me on. Save him from the hand that he beats me on. Dark clouds cover her paradise. She covers her eyes and hides behind enemy lines.
And I did it wrong because people called it
Through the night.
Apparently, yes.
one of the things that Evita talked about in class
No, hold
was
on. Sorry.
when you take the hand up and you're looking at it, what could happen if the hand drops? And so one person said it keeps going, and one person says it drops. So both of those things got incorporated into like our little made-up routine. So the first person's suggestion of this became here, and then the second person's was here. And so when we did it at first, everybody like watched their hand as it dropped, and she was like, well, what if you kept looking? Because that's something totally different. And so then got into like the up and down. But it was, I don't know how much was planned, and like I would love to know in her head where she thought she was going, and then how much she was kind of
winging it,
riffing it off of the class. And it was sort of like a choose your own adventure. So her three things were contradiction and character and flow.
Talk about contradiction.
The contradiction came from when you have your arm up, you know, like the normal thing is just to follow it down. Or one might say that, you know, when we did the thing to go down, you might first think to get up immediately.
So it's
kind of more like doing.
It's playing with expectations.
Yeah.
Got it.
And like as a audience person or person, or like the person you're dancing with, or like the judge that you're trying to impress, or whoever you're interacting with, how are they going to see what you're doing? Whereas like this, like as an observer, is something very different than this. Like you process it differently and wonder, I think, about like the emotions that would be going on. And so then she talked about using your body to follow your feet. So yeah, I would give it 2 thumbs up.
Awesome.
Go Evita.